1 rescue contract, 2 free pirate ships, a hangar full of weapons, armor and components, and after a few hours, all of that loot can appear on the ships again. Also, by the end of this video, we are going to make a woman very happy. Her name is Recco Battaglia. This is a professional relationship, mostly. Welcome back, citizens. Today we are at Levski in the next system, and I'm going to show you one of the most ridiculous contracts I have found so far. Ship in distress. On paper, this is a simple rescue job. Fly to a Drake Caterpillar, remove the pirates, repair the power plant, and help the crew escape. Nice, responsible, heroic. But the mission can also bring a couple of Drake Cutlass Blacks full of useful gear, and in my run, both pirate ships could be flown away, stored at Levski, and retrieved again later. Before we begin, one honest warning. This is Star Citizen. Mission resistance can change with a patch, a server, or possibly the good mood of the space gods. These are not permanent ships that you own like a purchasable vehicle. I am showing exactly what worked in this recording. Test it before you move your most valuable personal equipment onto one of them. With that being said, let us accept the job, rescue the crew, steal everything that is not attached, remove some things that are attached, and make Recco proud. We begin inside Levski. It's one of my favorite stations because it feels like a polished spaceport and more like a place where someone repaired a life support system with tape and sheer determination. While I walk towards the hangars, I open my mobi-glass and look for Recco Battaglia. She offers a contract called Ship in Distress. The objective is simple. A Drake Caterpillar is under attack, its power plant is damaged, and the crew cannot get home without help. Accept the contract and check that the marker appears before you leave the station. If the marker is missing, give the mission a moment to update. It is better to discover a problem here than after flying into deep space and confidently rescuing the wrong caterpillar. The contract itself is already worth doing for the combat, the loot and the reputation. The extra ships are a secret bonus. So even if the storage trick does not work in a future patch, the mission is still a good little adventure. And if you are new to Star Citizen, this is exactly the kind of gameplay I like. One mission teaches you navigation, EVA, shipboarding, FPS combat, looting, repair, and the ancient art of taking a pirate's vehicle because he is no longer using it. If practical adventures like this help you, leave a like. It tells YouTube that there are still people who enjoy spaceships, suspicious contracts, and extremely detailed explanation of where I found a rifle. Contract accepted. Recco is waiting, the Caterpillar crew is waiting. Let us prepare properly, because arriving with confidence and no repair tool would be a very short tutorial. For the first trip, I am taking my Drake Clipper. It is a compact, quick to move around, and perfect for this kind of questionable logistics. While the ship is being delivered, let us check the loadout. Do not skip this part. We expect ship-to-ship danger and armed boarding action and a repair objective at the end. First, wear proper armor. It does not have to be the heaviest set in the universe, but it should survive one mistake. The armor I am using here can actually be looted during this contract, so consider this a preview of the shopping trip where nobody checks the receipt. For my main weapon, I am bringing the parallax rifle. It's one of my favorites. More importantly, I know how it behaves. The best weapon in a boarding action is usually the one you can control when somebody suddenly appears 5 meters away. Bring enough ammunition, a few medical supplies, and a tractor beam for moving weapons, armor, and components. Then bring a multi-tool with the repair attachment. Check that attachment is installed and that you have a repair material. The final objective depends on it. That last point is important. A tractor attachment or a repair attachment can look like two tiny pieces of equipment right up until you are standing next to a broken power plant. Then one is a mission tool and the other is an expensive way to point at the problem. The clipper is ready, inventory checked, weapons loaded, pickle status not yet confirmed. We can launch. We leave Levski and follow the contract marker into Nix. During the flight, use the quiet moment to check the mission text one more time and make sure your multi-tool did not somehow disappear from your leg. As we approach, the situation becomes clear. In the center is the Drake Caterpillar we need to save. Around it are two pirate Drake Cutlass Blacks. Normally, the heroic response would be immediate. Eliminate the threat, board the Caterpillar, save the crew. We are going to do that in a minute. First, look at those Cutlasses. They are not just enemies, they are flying containers full of components, weapons and armor. More importantly, this mission can leave them in a state where we can enter the cockpit and fly them. So, the Caterpillar crew can wait just a little longer. They have oxygen, they have a large ship, they probably have coffee. I have two pirate vessels to inspect. Approach the first Cutlass carefully and leave your own clipper when you can find it again. Do not park directly in the line of fire and do not drift so far away that your return journey becomes a small EVA documentary. At this point, the plan changes from rescue operation to vehicle acquisition. If Recco asks, this is all part of securing the area. Here is the first important test. I board the Cutlass and look around before touching the pilot seat. This is not an empty mission prop. There are components on the ship, there is armor, there are weapons in the racks, and more equipment than we can move later with a tractor beam. This is already a valuable target even if the engines refuse to start. Before taking anything apart, I check whether the ship is actually flyable. Mission ships are not always consistent. Sometimes the door opens but the pilot seat does nothing. Sometimes the seat works but storage does not. And sometimes Star Citizen looks at the normal rules, smiles politely and gives you a free Cutlass Black. I sit down, the systems come online, the controls respond. We can steal it. This is the moment where the mission becomes much more interesting. I now have a complete pirate ship, still carrying its original equipment, and Levski is close enough to make the experiment practical. Do not unload everything here in open space. Flying the entire ship back is faster and safer. It also let us test whatever Levski will recognize it in the hangar system. I power up leave the distress site, and point the nose toward home. My own clipper stays behind near the caterpillar. That is intentional. We will return for it later. The flight back is also a good time to check the basic systems. Engines working, quantum drive working, weapons present, ownership paperwork beautifully absent. I'm not calling this piracy. The previous crew were pirates. Let's call it the aggressive recycling. As Levski comes into view, request a landing like normal and take the assigned hangar. Keep the landing clean. A stolen cutlass full of loot is a wonderful discovery. A stolen cutlass full of loot upside down in a hangar is a content for a different video. Once the doors close, we have reached the real test. Can we unload it? Can we store it? And will the ship still exist after we leave the terminal? We are back inside a private hangar, and now I can inspect the cargo without watching the radar every 5 seconds. The first Cutty has a surprisingly good package. I find armor pieces, useful ship components, and plenty of firearms. That includes sniper rifles and LMGs, grenade launcher, and other weapons that are difficult or impossible to find in normal shops. This is why the contract is worth more than the payment shown in Mobiglass. The real reward is physical. You can use the gear, share it with your buddy, equip another ship, or keep it as a replacement stock for the next time an elevator develops a personal interest in your backpack. I start with best weapons, move them carefully, and place them somewhere obvious in the hangar or just store them in my storage. Then take the components. After that, collect the armor and smaller equipment. Prioritize the rare items first. Star Citizen inventory can be unpredictable, and loose objects sometimes disappear. If something matters to you, move it before the common equipment and confirm that it is safely in your local storage or hangar space. This unloading process takes a little time, so this is the perfect moment for a professional survival break. I found a unique pickle.
I'm Pickle Rick!
According to absolutely no scientific research, this pickle gives the pilot special powers. It increases traction beam accuracy, it improves hangar luck, and creates a temporary protection field against the game bugs. Does it really work? Of course not. But I ate it and the ship did not explode. You cannot argue with results. Back to work. The final weapons come off the racks. The last armor pieces go into storage and I check the ship one more time. Do not store it before unloading. We are about to test persistence and I do not want my best loot trapped inside an experiment. Now I store the Cutlass through a hangar terminal. Success! The first pirate ship is inside the system. One stolen Cutty secured. One distressed caterpillar still waiting. Recco is probably checking her watch, so we need a cheap ride back onto the mission. My clipper is still parked at the distress site, so I need another ship to return. This is where the RSI Aurora Mk2 enters the story. It's my cheapest ship, which makes it perfect for the job. I can leave it near the caterpillar without worrying too much. That does not mean the Aurora is bad. It's a great little ship. It is simple, dependable, and very good at transporting one heavily armored person toward a series of poor decisions. When you repeat this method, use a ship you can replace easily. Do not bring your most expensive vessel only to abandon it in open space. We already know that one cutty can fly. We still need to complete the contract, recover the clipper and investigate the second cutlass. I launch again and fly back to the same marker. Because the mission is still active, the Caterpillar and the remaining ships are waiting for me. That is another reason not to complete the rescue too early. The active mission keeps the scene useful while we move the first ship to safety. As I approach, I park the Aurora close enough for an easy transfer but away from the main fight. Turn off anything you do not need, remember where you left it, and check your FPS weapon before leaving the seat. We have delayed the rescue long enough. It is time to board the Caterpillar and do the part Recco is actually paying us to do. I enter the Caterpillar with the parallax ready. From this point, slow is smooth and smooth is alive. The ship is full of narrow corridors, doors, ladders and blind angles. That means the pirates usually know where I must appear. I do not want to sprint through every doorway and donate my armor back to its previous owners. At the first corner, I stop and listen. Footsteps and weapon sounds often reveal more than the mission marker. I hold the angle, expose as little of my body as possible, and let the first pirate make the impatient decision. There he is! Short burst, target down, first corridor clear. Before moving forward, reload. Do not wait for an empty magazine in the next room. Star Citizen has many dramatic ways to die, but clicking an empty rifle in front of a pirate is one of the least impressive. The next section is tighter. Every door is either empty or hiding a man who has been waiting all day to shoot me. I open it, step away from the center and check the far angle first. Another pirate appears. I keep the rifle stable and avoid chasing the target with a long spray. Controlled fire saves ammunition and makes the footage look as if I knew what I was doing from the beginning. Second target down. You will see armor and weapons on the bodies as we move. Looting during the fight is tempting, especially when a pirate is wearing something rare, but secure the room first. The helmet will still be fashionable 30 seconds from now. I take only quick, useful items while the area is safe. Spare ammunition, a weapon I do not want to lose, and any unusual armor piece. The full shopping session can wait until we stop the gunfire. Now we move deeper into the Caterpillar. Drake interiors are perfect for this mission. Industrial walls, exposed machinery, and just enough darkness to make every object look like a pirate for half a second. I check the left side, then the right, then the left above. Keep your crosshair where a head or chest is likely to appear. Looking at the floor is excellent for finding dropped magazines and terrible for surviving an ambush. The final pirates are ahead. They fire first, but I'm too fast. Powered by the might of the pickle, I strafe fast, kick them in the nuts and finish the fight. Last targets down. This is also why I brought armor. Good tactics reduce damage. They do not remove lag, desync or the possibility that the enemy briefly becomes a professional teleportation consultant. If you take a hit, step back. Heal behind cover. Do not turn a tutorial into a speedrun because the crew has waited a few extra minutes. The Caterpillar crew can wait 10 more seconds while I use a medical pen. We continue one compartment at a time. Door, angle, target, reload, move. The rhythm is simple, but it matters. Most boarding mistakes happen when we break that rhythm and run into a room because the last two rooms were empty. Another contact, this one is close. I keep the weapon up, fire center mass and move back toward cover instead of standing in the doorway. Target down. At this point, take a quick look behind you. Enemies can move and the corridor that was safe 1 minute ago is not protected by a legal contract. It is still a corridor on a pirate-occupied ship. The loot is building up. We have more armor, more weapons and extra ammunition. This contract can equip a newer player very quickly. If you run it with a friend, split the roles. One person clears room and the other follows at a safe distance to move loot and watch the rear. That is also what we do on my Twitch streams. I often invite new players, show them the route, and let them keep useful equipment. It is much easier to learn Star Citizen when somebody is nearby to explain why a door is dangerous and why the elevator is even more dangerous. Back on the Caterpillar. We are close to the final section. I reload again, check the next doorway and avoid blocking my own escape route. The ship is secure, the corridors are quiet, we can finally stop behaving like an assault team and start behaving like a technicians with very flexible ownership standards. Killing the pirates is only half of the rescue. The Caterpillar cannot leave because its power plant is damaged. Follow the objective marker to the correct component and equip the multi-tool with the repair attachment. This is the tool we checked before takeoff. Aim at the damaged area and apply repair material until the mission recognizes the power plant as operational. Take your time here. If the progress does not move, adjust your angle and make sure the repair attachment is active. Do not accidentally use the tractor beam and spend 30 seconds trying to pull the power plant out of the ship. This is salvage. Recco requested rescue. The repair is complete. The Caterpillar has power, the remaining crew can escape, and the contract now asks us to move away from the ship. I head outside, jump into open space and create some distance. My clipper is still waiting exactly where I left it. As I board, the contract completes and very satisfied Recco Battaglia sends her response. There it is! We have officially made a woman happy in 20 minutes. No flowers, no dinner reservation, just a repaired power plant, several defeated pirates, and excellent contract administration. Promise number 3 from the title complete. The contract is complete, but our work is not finished. The second pirate Cutlass is still here. I use the clipper to move closer, then board the Cutlass exactly as before. First, inspect the interior, confirm that the loot is present, then try the pilot seat. Systems online, it works again. That gives us 2 flyable Cutlass Blacks from 1 rescue contract. The first is already stored at Levski, the second is now under my control, and it carries another package of weapons, armors, and components. Before leaving, I make sure the route is clear and that I'm not about to test the guns on the Caterpillar we just spent all the time saving. That would make Recco less happy, and the title would become false advertisement. On the way back, I give the weapons a quick test. Everything responds. This is not just a hollow ship with working engines. It is functioning combat vessel with useful equipment still installed. Again, this does not mean I permanently own it in the same way as a purchased ship. The important question is whether Levski will let me land, unload and store it. The first Catty passed the test. Now the second one has to do the same. Landing permission granted, hangar door open. I bring the ship down carefully and shut off the engines. 2 pirate ships have now arrived at Levski. Security has questions. Fortunately, Levski has a healthy respect for personal freedom and an even healthier dislike of paperwork. The second unloading follows the same order. Rare weapons, valuable components, armor and common equipment after that. This is the section when we can still increase the speed and earn a cup of coffee. I will keep talking so you still know what matters. Check every rack, every component slot, and every corner where loose equipment can hide. Move important items into safe local storage. Count the weapons before and after the transfer. If something is missing, look under the ship before blaming the pickle. With the interior empty, I stored the second Cutlass at the terminal. Both ships are now secured. The contract is complete, the Caterpillar crew is safe, Recco is happy. I have spent enough time pointing a tractor beam at heavy objects, so now I'm going to sleep. The next test needs a few hours. We will return in the morning and see whether these ships are simply empty souvenirs or something much more useful. Good morning from Levski. A few hours have passed and now we reach the most important part of the experiment. Let us return to the hangar terminal and retrieve the first Caddy Black. The ship appears normally. I walk inside and check places we emptied yesterday. The loot is back. Weapons have returned to the racks, components are back on the ship. I can remove the equipment a second time without leaving the station. I unload the best items, store the ship and call the second Catty. Same result. The second ship has also respawned its mission loadout. That means both Catties can act like repeatable loot containers. Empty the ship, store it, wait several hours, retrieve it again, and check whether the equipment has returned. This is why I used the word endless in the title. It is this build and on this run, the cycle can be repeated. But remember the opening warning. This looks like mission persistence behavior and it may be changed or fixed in the future. Treat every successful refresh as a bonus, not a permanent banking system. For now, however, we have 2 loot dispensers sitting inside Levski. No quantum travel, no firefight, no pirate ship trying to remove my wings, just a hangar, tractor beam, and a patient movement of many free items. Let us count the final result. We accepted 1 ship in distress contract from Recco Battaglia. We found a Drake Caterpillar surrounded by pirates. We delayed the rescue just long enough to steal the first Caddy Black, brought it back to Levski, removed a hefty number of items, and stored the ship. Then we returned in the Aurora Mk2, cleared the Caterpillar corridor by corridor, repaired the damaged power plant and saved the crew. After that contract completed, we stole the second Catty, tested it, unloaded it and stored it too. Several hours later, both ships returned with fresh copies of the original loot. So yes, 2 free mission ships, a large collection of equipment, a repeatable loot loop, a rescued crew, and 1 happy Recco Battaglia. That is a very productive day in Nyx. If this guide helped you, please leave a like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow and it lets me make more practical Star Citizen experiments like this one. Also check my Twitch, I do this live. I often invite newer players and we learn the game together. Every Sunday my team runs a bigger event, and everyone is invited to join. You do not need a perfect gear or years of experience. Bring a ship, bring a multi-tool, and don't forget the mighty pickle. Tell me in the comments if this trick worked for you, which components you found, and whether your pickle provided adequate bug protection. Thank you for watching, fly safe, loot carefully, keep your multi-tool close, and I will see you in the next one. 07